This is a video on the material that we covered in class today from lesson 3, and we're going to begin with what is a makif. A makif is simply a short horizontal line that is used to join together two or more words within a verse. Okay, so imagine this is one Hebrew word and that's another Hebrew word, and you have a horizontal line which joins these two words. It's akin to what we write like the hyphen in English. Okay, the hyphen joins these words together, and it's trying to tell you that this is a single unit. It is to be considered a unit, and the words in that unit have a relationship with each other. Similarly, the makif is telling you that you have to consider this as a unit, and the words in that unit have a relationship. What kind of a relationship? We'll deal with that later. Okay, that is a makif. So the difference between a makif and a hyphen is the makif is always going to appear at the top of the line rather than the middle. Okay, in English it's in the middle of the line, but the makif is always on top. So you can have one Hebrew word here and you have a makif. You can have another word and a makif here. That's it. It shows now this is in relationship. Fair enough? Now if there's no makif here, then the next word is a distinct word in itself, not part of the relationship. Okay. Next is the sign of the direct object. For that, let me tell you what an object is. Like I said in class today, Vijay hit a ball. This is the subject who's performing the action, and the action of hitting is upon this particular object. So we call this the object. And what is A? A is an indefinite article. Okay, an indefinite article. It could be a ball, means there's no particular ball, it could be any ball in that sense. But the moment I say Vijay hit the ball, it becomes a definite article. Therefore, it is a particular ball that we are talking about in this particular scenario. So, similarly, if you have understood this, then how does Hebrew Hebrew shows us, or at least it gives us a sign as to what is the direct object in that sentence. And it's usually the sign of the direct object is the word et. It can stand alone as et, or it will stand alone, or it will be combined to the next word with a makif. Remember, there's a change. If it's got a makif, it becomes a segol. Okay, but you just memorize the two forms. Why does it change to a segol? We will learn that next week when I teach you about syllables and what vowels can go into which syllables. So any word which follows the et, whatever the next word is, that is pretty much the object. So this is simply a sign to show you that whatever is the next word is the object of the verb. Okay, that's performing the action. Now, all this while, I have been telling you that very often the matrice lectionis he, when it will appear as at the end of a word with a kametz he, or it can come with a segol he, or it can come with a seri he, correct? And they function as a unit. If X is any, this one, it function as a unit. Now, what happens if I want to indicate that if a word ends with he and this is not functioning as a vowel, but it's functioning as a consonant. What Hebrew does is they add a dot called mapik in the final hey. When I say final hey, I mean the hey in the final position of the word. This can only, a mapik is only found in a hey which is in the final position. And what is the function of it? It is to indicate it is functioning there as a consonant and not as a vowel letter. Okay, so where can I find mapik? Only in a final hey. And when I say final hey, I'm talking position, final position where the hey comes in it. Okay, you'll never find a mapik in any other consonant. Mapik is very unique. What's the job of the mapik? To tell you, look, I want you to read this hey as a, or I want you to view this hey as a consonant. And may I remind you once again that what I told you in class today, a mapik, a final hey with a mapik is considered a very strong guttural. Okay, it is a very strong guttural. By the rules of grammar, it's very strong. Then we come to Dagesh Forte. Now, Dagesh Forte is identical in appearance to a Dagesh Lene, but it has a different purpose in itself. Now, what is a Dagesh Forte? A Dagesh Forte is simply a dot. It is a dot. It is a dot that is used to indicate the doubling of a consonant. Can any consonant get a Dagesh Forte? The answer is all consonants except the gutturals will get a Dagesh Forte. Gutturals do not take a Dagesh Forte. Do not. In other words, gutturals are never doubled. Now, what do I mean by doubling? It simply means that you pronounce that particular consonant twice. Okay? So, in English, it would be the equivalent. My name is Maman. You see the double M's here. So, what they would write was M-A-M-M and they put a dot inside it and write E-N. So, when I was reading Ma and then I came here, I would read it as a double M. So, that's the concept here. So, if you are going to get a Lamed with a dot, it simply means please read it as a double Lamed. Okay, I'll get to the exercises, but please, this is the theory behind it. And a guttural can never get a Dagesh Forte. Now it's very easy to recognize a Dagesh Forte, except you will have a challenge if a Dagesh Forte appears in a Begad Kefat letter. In a Begad Kefat letter, if you get a dot in a Begad Kefat letter, it can either be a Dagesh Lene or a Dagesh Forte, right? Now, how do you know whether it's a Dagesh Lene or a Forte? How can you tell the difference? And the answer to that is a Dagesh Lene will never stand after a vowel. A Dagesh Forte always stands after a vowel. This is the basic theory behind it. Dagesh Lene never stands after a vowel. A Dagesh Forte always stands after a vowel. What do I mean by that? Let me just put it into practice. Let me give you an example. You have the word Afar. Now this is hey with a patak, then you have a pe with a dot in it. Now pe is a begat kefat letter. So this can either be a Dagesh Lene or a Dagesh Forte. How do I know which is what? Look what is preceding it. In this case, the patak is preceding it. If it is in this case, it is a full vowel which is preceding it. And therefore, a Dagesh Lene, this is not a Dagesh Lene, but this is a Dagesh Forte because it is immediately preceded by a vowel. Remember what I said before, a Dagesh Lene will never be following a vowel. Okay, it will never be preceded by a vowel. A Dagesh Forte will always be preceded by a vowel. Another one, Malka. Here you have a kaf here which has a dot here. This could either be a Lene or a Forte. So see what is preceding it, and this is preceding it, and this is a silent Sheva, or in fact it is a Sheva. It is a silent Sheva. It is a Sheva. It is not a full vowel, and therefore we can theoretically say that this is being preceded by a consonant Lamed, and therefore this is functioning as a Dagesh Lene. A Dagesh Lene is never preceded by a full vowel. Okay, in this case it is a silent Sheva. Also, a word like this, Dabar. You see a dot here in the Dalit. It's beginning a word. A Dagesh in a Begat Kefat letter is always a Lene if it appears at the beginning of a word. Now this dot, you will never get a Forte at the beginning of a word. This dot will always be a Lene. So remember, a Dagesh in a Begat Kefat consonant is a Lene if it appears at the beginning of a word. In this case, it's appearing at the beginning of a word. So all it's telling you to do is give me the hard pronunciation. I want to get back to one example where I did not explain how to read it actually. Okay, so back to this example. So this is doubled, we said, and therefore you read it like ha. You put a silent Sheva below it because a silent Sheva is redundant. It has no value. It has no phonetic value. You're not reading it. Then you have a pe with the kamets, and then you have the resh. Now remember, when Dagesh Forte is put in a consonant, only the consonant is doubled. The vowel below it is not doubled. Okay, the vowel below it is never doubled. So this is hapar. So you see, the consonant pe is repeated. Hapar, hapar. Let me see if I have some examples that we can figure out. All right, I'm doing some examples from the exercise. Exercise 2 in Page Kelly. Exercise 2, and this is chapter 3. So let's see this. This is the shin, is a kirek. You have a bet, and you have a sere, and you have a resh. By the way, this is a kirek. Yeah, this is a sere, and this is a resh. I have a dot here inside this. Now, is it a there are two options. What kind of a first question you have to ask is, what kind of a letter am I dealing with? Am I dealing with a Bigat Kifat letter? If it is a Bigat Kifat letter, I have, in this case it's a Bet, I have two options. It's either a Lene or it's a Dagesh Forte. The question to figure out is, just see what precedes it. I can see a full vowel which is a correct here, and therefore I can confidently say that this is a Dagesh Forte. So how do I read it? This is read as, now again the doubling will be the doubling of the hard pronunciation. In this case, the hard pronunciation of the Bigat Kefat letter. In this case, the hard pronunciation of a Bet is B, and the soft pronunciation is a V. So it's a doubling of the hard pronunciation. It's read as Shibber. Shibber. Let's try another one. This is a word which has got first a he, then it has a kirek, then it has a nun, and I'm sorry I've written the nun that way, so let me extend that a little more. It has a nun with a dot in it, and it has a sere below it and a he. Again, this is acting as a unit, you know that, vowel unit rather. Now I have a dot there, so I ask yourself the first question: what am I dealing with here exactly? Is it a Bigat Kefat letter? And the answer to it is Noon is not a Bigat Kefat letter, and therefore you can close your eyes and say, in that case, the dot is a Dagesh Forte, because Noon is neither a guttural, obviously, because gutturals cannot take gutturals do not take a Dagesh Forte. So this is clearly a Dagesh Forte because this is a Noon. It is not a Bigat Kefat letter. Let's try another one. Here you have a kaf with the kirek, then you have a samek with a dot in it, and you have a sere below and an aleph ending it. The first question is, I have a dot in the first one. Okay, remember, this is a, what alphabet am I dealing with? This is a Bigat Kefat letter. This is a Bigat Kefat letter. This is a kaf. Okay. The question then is, a Dagesh Forte will never appear at the beginning of a word. So this is, you can close your eyes and say this is a Dagesh Lane. What about this dot in the Samek? Is Samek a Bigat Kefat letter? The answer is no. And therefore that dot inside it is surely a Dagesh Forte. So how do I read this now? It's read as Kisse. Kisse. Kisse.